Learn English through story. The Honest Merchant and the Enchanted Forest. Chapter 1, The Humble Beginnings. In the quaint village of Eldoria, nestled between rolling hills and lush meadows, lived a young merchant named Eric. Eric was known throughout the village for his unwavering honesty and generous heart. Though his shop was modest and his earnings meager, Eric's reputation for fairness drew customers from far and wide. Every morning, he would open his shop with a smile, greeting each customer warmly, regardless of their wealth. Eric had inherited the shop from his father, who had taught him the importance of honesty and kindness in business. His father's words echoed in his mind daily: "Wealth gained dishonestly will never bring true happiness." Eric held these words close to his heart, conducting his business with integrity and respect. One crisp morning, as the golden rays of the sun bathed the village in warmth, Eric received a letter. It was an invitation to a grand merchants' gathering in the distant city of Valtoria. The invitation was an honor, extended only to those who had shown exceptional promise in the world of commerce. Eric's heart swelled with pride and excitement. This was a rare opportunity to expand his business and learn from the best. As he packed for the journey, the villagers gathered to bid him farewell. They offered him provisions and well wishes, for Eric had helped many of them in times of need. Among them was Alara, a wise old woman who had been like a grandmother to him. She handed him a small, intricately woven pouch. "This is for you, dear Eric," she said with a twinkle in her eye. "Whenever you are hungry, this pouch will provide food. Use it wisely." Eric thanked Alara, her gift a comforting assurance for the long journey ahead. With his provisions packed and his heart full of hope, Eric set off towards Valtoria, unaware of the adventures and trials that awaited him. Chapter 2, The Struggling Stranger. The first few days of Eric's journey were uneventful. He traveled through familiar landscapes, his mind filled with thoughts of the grand gathering and the opportunities it held. As he ventured further, the path became more challenging. The roads were rocky, and the forests grew denser. On the fourth day, as Eric trudged through a particularly thick forest, he heard a faint groaning sound. Following the noise, he came upon an old woman struggling to carry a heavy load of firewood. Her face was etched with lines of exhaustion, and her frail frame trembled under the weight. Without hesitation, Eric approached her. "Let me help you, ma'am," he said gently, taking the burden from her shoulders. The old woman looked at him with grateful eyes. "Thank you, kind sir," she whispered, her voice weak but sincere. Eric carried the firewood to the woman's small cottage, nestled at the edge of the forest. Inside, it was cozy but sparsely furnished, a testament to her humble means. The old woman, whose name was Mira, offered him a seat and a cup of warm herbal tea. As they sipped their tea, Mira shared her story. She had once been a prosperous healer, but age and ill fortune had reduced her to a life of solitude and hardship. Touched by her plight, Eric decided to spend the night at her cottage, helping her with chores and gathering more firewood. In the morning, as he prepared to leave, Mira pressed the enchanted pouch back into his hands. "You have a kind heart, Eric," she said. "This pouch is a token of my gratitude. May it always provide for you in times of need." Eric thanked her once more, feeling a warmth in his heart that surpassed the chill of the early morning air. Chapter 3, The Deceitful Merchant. With renewed vigor, Eric continued his journey. The road to Valtoria grew more treacherous, but he faced each challenge with determination. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Eric reached a bustling town. He decided to rest there for the night. As he explored the town, Eric encountered a fellow merchant named Burkus. Burkus was slick and silver-tongued, his words oozing charm. He invited Eric to share a meal, and, curious about this new acquaintance, Eric agreed. Over dinner, Burkus regaled Eric with tales of his business exploits, each story grander than the last. He spoke of immense wealth and extravagant ventures, painting a picture of a life filled with luxury. Eric listened intently, though he remained wary. Eventually, Burkus proposed a business deal. He offered Eric a partnership in a supposedly lucrative trade route, promising higher returns with minimal risk. However, something about the deal felt off. Remembering his father's advice, Eric decided to trust his instincts. He politely declined the offer, despite Burkus's insistence. Burkus's demeanor shifted instantly. His charming facade fell away, revealing a cold, calculating expression. He scoffed at Eric, warning him that he would regret his decision. That night, as Eric lay in his rented room, he couldn't shake the uneasy feeling Burkus had left him with. The next morning, as Eric prepared to leave the town, he heard whispers among the townsfolk. Rumors were spreading that he was a dishonest merchant, a liar who had swindled people in the past. Eric was stunned and disheartened. He knew these rumors were Burkus's doing, a spiteful attempt to tarnish his reputation. Despite the setback, Eric resolved to stay true to his values. He approached the townsfolk, addressing the rumors head-on. He spoke earnestly, sharing his story and the values he upheld. Gradually, his sincerity won them over. Those who had dealt with him before vouched for his honesty, and the rumors began to lose their power. Eric's integrity prevailed, and he left the town with his reputation intact. The incident with Burkus served as a stark reminder of the importance of staying true to oneself, even in the face of deceit and adversity. Chapter 4, The Enchanted Forest. Eric continued his journey towards Valtoria, now more determined than ever to stay true to his principles. The path led him to the edge of an ancient, enchanted forest. The villagers had spoken of this forest with a mix of awe and fear, telling tales of magical creatures and mystical occurrences. Eric, however, felt a sense of calm as he entered the dense woods. The forest was unlike anything he had seen before. Tall trees with thick canopies shaded the ground, where unusual flowers and plants grew in abundance. As he walked deeper, he noticed that the forest seemed to be alive with whispers and rustling leaves, as if the very trees were speaking to him. As dusk fell, Eric set up camp by a small, clear stream. He sat by the fire, eating from the provisions Ilar had given him. The enchanted pouch had already proven its worth, providing him with fresh bread and cheese whenever he opened it. As he gazed into the flickering flames, he heard a soft cry for help. Following the sound, Eric came upon a small clearing where a beautiful fox lay trapped in a hunter's snare. The fox's golden fur shimmered in the moonlight, and its eyes were filled with pain and fear. Without a second thought, Eric carefully approached the fox and freed it from the cruel trap. The fox stood up and shook itself, then looked up at Eric with an expression of gratitude. To his amazement, it began to speak. "Thank you, kind traveler," it said in a melodic voice. "I am Phaelin, the guardian of this forest. Your compassion has freed me from a great evil." Eric, though startled, responded with respect. "It was the right thing to do," he said simply. "No creature deserves to suffer like that." Phaelin nodded. "You have a pure heart, Eric. As a token of my gratitude, I grant you a wish. Anything you desire, speak it, and it shall be yours." Eric thought for a moment. He could wish for wealth, power, or even the success of his business. But instead, he said, "I wish for the prosperity and happiness of my village, Eldoria. May it flourish and may the people always have what they need." Phaelin smiled, her eyes twinkling with approval. "Your wish is noble and selfless. It shall be granted. Eldoria will prosper, and you will always be remembered for your kindness." With that, the fox transformed into a wisp of light and vanished into the forest, leaving Eric alone but filled with a sense of fulfillment. He returned to his camp and slept soundly, knowing that he had done something truly good. Chapter 5, The Grand Gathering. After days of arduous travel, Eric finally reached the magnificent city of Valtoria. The city was a marvel, with towering spires, bustling markets, and grand palaces. The streets were alive with merchants, travelers, and residents, all going about their business with an air of prosperity and excitement. The merchants' gathering was held in a grand hall at the heart of the city. Merchants from all over the land had come to display their wares, share their stories, and forge new alliances. Eric felt a mix of nervousness and anticipation as he entered the hall, his humble goods displayed alongside the opulent treasures of wealthier merchants. Despite his initial apprehension, Eric quickly found himself engaged in conversations with other merchants. He shared tales of his journey, the challenges he had faced, and the values he upheld. His honesty and integrity shone through, earning him the respect and admiration of his peers. As the gathering progressed, Eric's stall attracted more and more visitors. People were drawn to his sincerity and the quality of his goods. He received several lucrative offers and potential partnerships, but he remained cautious, choosing only those that aligned with his principles. On the final day of the gathering, Eric was invited to speak before the assembled merchants. He stood before the crowd, his heart pounding but his resolve firm. He spoke of his journey, the importance of honesty in business, and the lessons he had learned along the way. In our pursuit of success, he said, we must never forget the values that define us. Honesty, kindness, and integrity are the true measures of our worth. Wealth gained through deceit may bring temporary gain, but it will never bring true happiness. The hall erupted in applause. Eric's words resonated with many who had lost sight of these principles in their quest for riches. His speech earned him several accolades, and many merchants sought his advice and partnership. However, Eric's thoughts were with his village. He decided to return to Eldoria, content with the knowledge that he had stayed true to his values and made a positive impact. The enchanted pouch provided for his needs on the journey back, and he felt a deep sense of peace and fulfillment. Chapter 6, The Return Home. When Eric finally returned to Eldoria, he was greeted with joyous celebrations. The villagers had heard of his adventures and were eager to welcome him home. To his astonishment, the village had indeed prospered in his absence. The fields were bountiful, the shops were thriving, and the people were happier than ever. Eric resumed his life as a merchant, his shop now busier than ever. The enchanted pouch continued to provide for him, a constant reminder of the kindness he had shown and the rewards it had brought. His story spread far and wide, inspiring others to live with integrity and compassion. Years passed, and Eldoria grew into a thriving town. Eric's legacy endured, his name becoming synonymous with honesty and kindness. He continued to help those in need, his heart always open and his spirit always generous. Eric's life was a testament to the power of honesty and compassion. He shows that true wealth is not measured in gold or possessions, but in the goodness of one's heart and the positive impact one has on the world. And so, the story of Eric, the honest merchant, and his journey through the enchanted forest became a legend, a moral tale passed down through generations, reminding all who heard it of the enduring value of integrity and kindness. Chapter 7, The Wise Counsel. Years after his return, Eric had become a figure of wisdom in Eldoria. Merchants from nearby towns would travel to seek his counsel. His life experiences had made him a repository of knowledge and moral guidance. He took pride in mentoring young merchants, imparting lessons learned through his own trials. One of his prot A tilde copyright G A tilde copyright S was a young woman named Lyra, who reminded him of himself in his younger days. Lyra was ambitious but lacked direction. Eric took her under his wing, teaching her the importance of honesty and perseverance. Under his guidance, Lyra's small shop began to flourish, attracting customers who valued her integrity. One evening, as they sat by the fire discussing business strategies, Lyra asked, "Master Eric, what was the most difficult challenge you faced on your journey?" Eric thought for a moment, his mind drifting back to the deceitful encounter with Brucus. "The hardest challenge," he said slowly, "was staying true to my values when it seemed easier to compromise. There were times when dishonesty would have brought quick gains, but I chose the harder path of integrity. It's a choice you must make every day, in every decision." Lyra nodded thoughtfully. "Thank you for sharing your wisdom, Master Eric. I hope to live up to your example." Eric smiled, feeling a deep sense of satisfaction. Mentoring Lyra and others like her was his way of giving back, ensuring that the values he cherished would be passed on to future generations. Chapter 8, The Unexpected Visitor. One stormy night, as thunder rumbled and rain poured down, there was a knock on Eric's door. Opening it, he found a bedraggled figure standing in the downpour. It was Brucus, the deceitful merchant he had encountered years ago. Time had not been kind to Brucus. His once slick appearance was now haggard, and his eyes were filled with desperation. "Eric," Brucus said, his voice trembling, "I have nowhere else to go. I'm ruined. My dishonest ways have caught up with me, and I've lost everything. Please, I need your help." Eric's first instinct was to turn Brucus away, but his compassion won out. He invited Brucus inside, offering him dry clothes and a warm meal. As Brucus sat by the fire, he recounted his downfall, his voice heavy with regret. "I was wrong, Eric. I see that now. My greed and deceit have brought me nothing but misery. I wish I had followed your example instead." Eric listened quietly, then said, "It's never too late to change, Brucus. You can start anew, but it will take time and effort to rebuild trust. Honesty must be your foundation." Moved by Eric's kindness, Brucus vowed to turn over a new leaf. With Eric's guidance, he began to work honestly, slowly earning back the trust of the townspeople. It was a long and arduous journey, but Brucus found a sense of peace and fulfillment he had never known before. Chapter 9, The Prosperous Village. Under Eric's influence, Eldoria continued to thrive. The village became known as a beacon of honesty and fair trade. Travelers from distant lands came to experience the unique atmosphere of trust and goodwill that permeated the town. The enchanted pouch, a symbol of the blessings Eric had received for his kindness, continued to provide for him. He often used it to help those in need, sharing its bounty with the less fortunate. One day, a group of weary travelers arrived in Eldoria. They were traders from a distant land, seeking refuge and trade opportunities. Impressed by the village's prosperity and the integrity of its people, they decided to settle in Eldoria, bringing with them new goods and skills. The village's economy flourished even more, and Eric's shop became a bustling hub of activity. He formed partnerships with the new traders, expanding his business while maintaining his unwavering principles. Eldoria's marketplace became a vibrant, diverse center of commerce, where honesty and kindness were the cornerstones of every transaction. Chapter 10, The Legacy of Eric. As the years passed, Eric grew older, but his spirit remained as vibrant as ever. He continued to mentor young merchants and contribute to the well-being of Eldoria. His legacy of honesty and compassion was firmly entrenched in the village's culture. One evening, as the sun set over the rolling hills, Eric gathered the villagers for a special announcement. Standing in the town square, he addressed the crowd with a heartfelt speech. "Dear friends and fellow merchants," he began, "it has been my greatest honor to serve this village and uphold the values of honesty and kindness. I am grateful for the support and love you have shown me over the years. As I grow older, it's time for me to pass the torch to the next generation." He turned to Lyra, who stood beside him, her eyes filled with admiration and gratitude. "Lyra has shown remarkable dedication and integrity. I am confident she will continue to lead with the same values we hold dear." The crowd erupted in applause, cheering for Lyra and expressing their deep appreciation for Eric's contributions. Lyra stepped forward, her voice steady and filled with emotion. "Thank you, Master Eric," she said. "You have taught us that true wealth lies in our character and the positive impact we make on others. I will strive to honor your legacy and ensure that Eldoria remains a place of honesty and kindness." As the villagers celebrated, Eric felt a profound sense of fulfillment. He had lived a life true to his values, and his legacy would endure through those he had inspired. Eldoria's future was bright, built on the foundation of honesty and compassion that Eric had so diligently upheld. And so, the story of Eric, the honest merchant, and his journey through the Enchanted Forest became a cherished legend. It was a moral tale passed down through generations, reminding all who heard it of the enduring value of integrity and kindness. Eric's legacy lived on in the hearts of the people of Eldoria, a testament to the power of a life lived with honesty, compassion, and unwavering principles. I hope you enjoyed this story. If you enjoyed, then please like and share the video, and don't forget to subscribe our YouTube channel. Thank you for watching our video.